Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello and welcome wherever you may be. I want to talk briefly on the law of intentionality. The law of intentionality states that what you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. It could be negative, it could be positive. What you focus on expands. And I'm going to take a couple of examples. So first off, I was watching a film recently. It's called Dancing Alone. Dancing Alone. And it was about a woman who had a severe case of agoraphobia. And it was difficult for her to get out of the house. And she needed to post a letter. And she wanted to get someone else to do it. Nobody was available. She tried to get out of doing it, contacted her neighbor, and it just was not possible. She had to do it by herself. And it was really, really difficult for her. She ventured out of the house, and it was such, a captivating experience, but also you could see the pain that she was going through, the confusion, the anxiety, the nervousness. She was looking behind her, looking everywhere. And a few times she almost got run over. She bumped into somebody, and it was such a task for her. At last, she got to the letterbox, and by the time she got there, she was shaking, she was in tears, she was hugging the letterbox, and finally posted the letter. That was the start of her turnaround. But how did this happen? She lost a loved one, and there was a pain associated with that, naturally. And it became a fear, it became thoughts, it became things that she could not get over by herself. She continued to expand on that, and it got to a point that she was practically unable to do simple things by herself. So that's a positive example. Whatever we focus on expands. Whatever we focus on expands. So a positive example, I like to watch X Factor, music shows. I like the grass to grace type of stories. I like music, I like dancing. So it falls within my, the things I enjoy. And they talk about, I started to sing when I was 5 years old. I always knew I wanted to be a singer. They would go for auditioning. They would go to music school. They focused on it, laser focused on it, until they finally got to this point where they have this audition in a huge place and they get recognized for it. They focused on it. So whatever we focus on, whatever we meditate on, whatever we're obsessed with, whatever we think about, whatever we practice, whatever we're diligent to do will expand. And each and every one of us, we have positives and negatives in our lives. So I look at myself and I could say to you, I need to lose weight. Perhaps my face could be less round. Perhaps the nose could be less, whatever. But we could go on and talk about the negatives. But I choose not to focus on the negative. So I focus on my beautiful smile. I focus on my skin. I focus on all of those things that are positives. So it is your choice. So what I'm saying to you today, I challenge you. I challenge you. What are you going to be focusing on? What are you going to be intentional about? Are you going to concentrate on the negatives? They do exist, and we're not denying that they exist. Or are you going to concentrate on the positives and expand them? The more you expand the positives, the negatives begin to diminish by themselves. People see you and they see your big fat smile. They don't see all the other so-called shortcomings. So what are you going to focus on? The law of intentionality says, whatsoever we focus on grows. So when you think about something, when you're thinking about complaining, when you're thinking, things are not just going right for me, when you want to complain about your body, when you want to complain about where you are in life, think about whatever I focus on grows. What are you going to spend your energy, your time, your commitment on? What are you going to focus on? This is the law of intentionality, and how are you going to apply it to your life? The thing about laws is that whether we agree or we don't agree, whether we believe it or we don't believe it, it works. Take the law of gravity, for instance. If you throw yourself off a bridge, you know what's going to happen. The law of gravity is going to help you with that. So in the same way, the law of intentionality is a law. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, it works. So why don't you use that law to your own advantage? Why don't you work with it rather than have it work against you? Your challenge today, this week, this month, this year is, what are you going to be intentional about? What are you focusing on? Is it going to be the positives in your life, or is it going to be the negative? So my name is Tola Ariola. I'm your coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team. And I wish you all the best for this week.